There's going to be about a 5-second delay, so that's unfortunate.
Yep, no, that's cool. I'll just plug the laptop into the monitor so I can watch it on a big screen.
Alright, so just let me know when you could see.
That's in. Alright, go to there. Change me HDMI. Number 2. Full screen.
And once I get going, I'm gonna be on a roll. So if you have any questions, just tell me to shut the fuck up.
Yep. Yeah, no worries. Yep, I'm in. I'm watching.
All right. What's up, Brandy?
Be on a roll. So if you have any questions, just
all right. So first step, you're gonna go to create race. These are just all your different options here: deathmatch, race, capture, blah blah blah.
Yep.
In here, you're gonna go to stunt race. The difference between a stunt race and a land race is basically just the prop selection. Stunt props allow you to much more props.
Yep.
Can you turn that down just a tad bit, Bulldogs?
Yeah, I just
Really
muted
loud
it.
in the background. Thank you. Alright, so once you're in stunt race, boom. So here's a big part of this. Choosing where you want the track. And I mean, you know, when I build tracks, depending on if it's real life track, I try to use the surroundings to my advantage.
Yep.
And try to match it up. One of the things you could do if you're looking for a unique place to build is you switch it to nighttime. And you could go around the map and look at, you know, the good well-lit areas of the map where you want to build.
Okay, yeah.
Down here, you got some good lights at the docks.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I never knew you could do that.
And just different unique things around the map, like this bridge here. I've built one in this bridge. Just try to find unique things. But I have a location in mind for where we're gonna go today. Yeah, we'll go up here. Alright, so this area gives you some unique lighting at night.
Yep.
I've got quite a bit of tracks here. So what we're going to do, we're going to build right over this lake or sea, whatever it is. So the first thing you got to do is place a trigger. And you could place it anywhere. This doesn't matter at this point in the build. It just allows you to start placing props. So you place a trigger. Lobby cam, just take a picture of anything for now. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
And then race details. Until I figure out, like I typically don't name mine till the end unless I build a specific track like Richmond or whatever.
Yeah.
But for now, we'll just do GGG. Description. Whoops. GGG. Photo. And this allows you to save it. So now you're already at a point where you could save, and that's one of the things, like whenever you start building, you want to save every 5-10 minutes. Like Magnus messaged me yesterday, he was creating for hours, then he made a mistake and backed out, and boom, he lost all that progress.
All of it, yeah.
So you want to, save every 5-10 minutes. Yeah. All right, so since we're building a small oval today, first thing you're going to do is build the platform. So on a small oval, you could go to stunt building blocks, go to the biggest one they have, which is this one, 28 by 48. Just set it, just above the water. You don't want it too close, but you also want it up enough, or low enough, I'm sorry, to see the the mountains in the background and all that. So actually, I'm
yeah.
going to try to tuck it in more over here, so we get more of a mountainous view. We might even be able to incorporate this bridge somehow in the standings or in the grandstands. Alright, so we'll place it right here. So I go into advanced options just to get a closer look and see this little tree over here, and that's why I do that, because when we were way back here, you know, you might not see something like that. At least I can't.
Yep.
So you zoom in. You just want to pick it up above that, above anything that might
Yep.
obstruct a car. So
Through
boom.
it, yep.
Zoom out. There you go. There's your platform. So we'll set it. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some pieces onto this platform. I don't think we'll need them because it's going to be a short track, but we'll add them for now, and we could always delete them later.
Yep.
So I changed the color of it, and that helps me just kind of line it up a little bit. You go to turn your prop stacking on, print prop snapping on, and see how it clicked into place there. So we'll go to advanced options, override position, and instead of just snapping it in place as soon as it clicks, you want to go up close to the line here and like make it bite within each other, kind of like so.
Yep.
And then you could fine adjust it. See on the bottom there it says square hold, so you could move it up and down and you could get a perfect match like that.
Fair enough, yep. Yeah, I see that.
So once it's like that, and you know it's a perfect match, you could go ahead and click it in, X. Okay, we'll do one on this side, just to ensure that we have enough width on the track. It's probably not going to snap in on me. Oh, there it is. So sometimes you got to play around with it for it to snap in place like that.
Yeah, yep.
Alright, so we'll go back down. Again, you go up to the X value, and you kind of make it bite into each other. Go down to Z value, hold square, get it down a little bit, and once you see it like that, two equal lines, you know they're perfectly placed. And all that's doing is basically eliminating the snap line. So if I didn't do that and I just snapped it together, when you're driving on the track, you would see a little line right there, and it would kind of flicker, and it's fucking mad annoying.
Okay.
So all that's doing is eliminating the snap lines. Right, so what we'll do, we'll add one on this side. And again, I only think we're going to need the red one, but we're going to add these just in case we want to make the track a little bit bigger. We could always delete them after. Alright, so we'll go ahead, we'll make it bite in. So this one I did a little too far that way, so we'll back it up. Boom. Alright, we'll do one more on this end. And this is by far the most annoying part of the build, for me at least anyway. I
That's what I was
absolutely hate
mucking
the
around with
platform.
yesterday, and I did the same thing, and I was mucking around with the platforms, and I thought, none of these are lining up properly. Bugger it.
Yeah, it takes, I mean, even knowing how to do it, it takes patience. It's super annoying. Alright, so see, this one's giving me trouble. There it is. So it's snapping in over there for some reason, but that's fine. So you go to advanced options, go to position, and see how these arrows make it move left to right. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll line it up, kind of like so, because it doesn't help you if it's all the way over here in the mountain. It doesn't help.
Yeah.
So you slide it over. Alright, now we're going to slide it in a little bit to make it bite. Then we'll come and zoom in. and push it down. So boom, that one's good. Alright, so there is the platform. So after I do that, I change the colors so they all match. Gray or black is usually the ones I'll use just because it makes it easier to see everything.
And how do you go back to select each piece that you've already placed?
What do you mean?
Like, say how you've placed the 4 or 5 of the blocks. How do you change them back? Like, say how you're changing the colours of them.
So to change the color, see the bar down there on the bottom? It says zoom, it says switch color, height, switch camera down there on the bottom.
Oh, that does that when you hover over each particular piece, does it?
Yep, and what you want to do is if you're going to change the colors, you always want to make sure prop stacking up here is off. So
Off. Right.
yep, when prop stacking's off, you can change all the colors to whatever you want. And even like, let's say I wanted to extend this platform all the way to the other end or whatever, you could actually, if you have prop stacking off, you could grab this piece, then press circle, and it gives you the same piece, and then you could just prop stacking on, prop snapping on, and snap it in.
Yep.
So, I mean, you could make a platform as big as you want. You know, for the bigger tracks like Daytona and all that, you're like, it'll take 20 of these pieces to make a platform. On this track, we'll probably only need one. So, once you got your platform, you're at a good save point. Go ahead and save it. Alright, and this is where the fun comes in. So now, I mean, we already know we're building a short track, so it's going to be about 0.25, 0.3 of a mile.
Yep.
So the next step is placing checkpoints.
Hold
on, I got an email.
Okay. 2 seconds, bro. 2 seconds.
You're good. Alright. So the next step is placing checkpoints just to kind of give you an idea of how it's where you're gonna lay out the track. So for that, we're gonna have to move the trigger over here. The trigger, we placed it earlier way over there, and then we moved the track over here.
Yeah, that's right.
So anywhere over here will work. You just gotta make it find a spot where the cursor turns white, like so. So this would be a good spot. On top of this little bridge would be a good spot if it would highlight, but it probably won't. Yeah, it's not going to. Alright, so again, back to this little trail. Come on, you bastard. There we go. So, and typically you wouldn't want to build like up near a railroad like this because it does cause frame rate drop and all that.
With the train.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really worried about it with this track. This track has no plans of being in a Sunday. This is just going to be a fun like playlist type track. But I do like, you know, you'll see once the track is built why I chose this, because it's going to start. Here, we'll lay the checkpoints so you can see. So whenever I'm laying just the checkpoints, just laying out the track, I just switch it to 2 cars. Just makes it easier. So it's going to be about here. And it's going to be very small. So this will be like the entrance to turn 1. You come around. And you're basically just kind of eyeballing where the track is going to be, where to build your turns. So there's turns 1 and 2, and then we'll come down here. And you could do this from an overhead view too. It might make it easier. I'm just so used to doing it that I just kind of go with it. But again, like if I was building a specific type track, like a real world track, like I would make sure it was the correct length, all that. Alright, so that is a teeny, very teeny track. So 0.26. We have the space to stretch it out a little bit. So we could actually bring this turn back here like so, as long as we cut in before this tree right here. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna back it up a little bit. We gotta delete these checkpoints. My daughter's being incredibly loud. Alright. And another way to do this is to put the entrance and exit checkpoints first. Like like so, and then you just go in the middle, pull back the middle, like so. It ain't gonna let me put one in between it. But let's hover above it. Alright, so as you can see, the track is way out of scale, not even. We want it to be even.
Yeah.
So we're gonna delete this one. Delete this one. We're gonna pull this one in a little bit. Pull this one in a little bit. We're going to move the start finish line closer to the middle of the straightaway. And this is an important part. Like a lot of people don't take the time to make this perfect because they just don't know how to do it, you know. But this is one of the most important parts because this determines, you know, once you build your turn template, which we're going to be doing next, this is how proportionate your track is going to be, is how proportionate you make this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you wanted to be super like OCD about it, you could actually count the squares on this little platform in between the checkpoints.
Checkpoints, yeah.
And I've done that on tracks. Adder does it. Scott does it. You know, that is something that you can do. And obviously this one's on a little tilt, so if it's not running directly in line with those squares. Like if I wanted to make it perfect, this blue line, I would make line up with the squares on this, so it would be like absolutely perfect, but I don't think we need to do that right off the bat.
Yeah.
Alright, so what we have here is a 0.27 little short track. Turns are a little abrupt. We could probably back those up just a little bit to make it more of a deeper turn. Like so. Another thing that helps is if you look at it in the nighttime perspective, kind of highlights it a little bit more.
Yep.
So as you can see, that one checkpoint off to the right there is a little higher than the other side, so we're going to fix that. Just lower it down a little bit, right about there. This one, right about here. Alright, so that looks pretty proportionate to me. I'm happy with it for now.
Yep.
Alright, so we'll go ahead and we'll switch it back to current. I always build in current time, it's way easier. Way easier.
Yeah.
We'll save it again. And now here's where it gets real fun. This is the most difficult part right here. If you could master this part and master the walls, you'll be a master oval builder. So there are many different pieces you could use for the banking of a track. I mean, you've seen it. There's all different. There's rubber. There's wood. There's all sorts of different shit you could use. The
Yep.
the prop I would recommend starting out with is in stunt racetrack. You go left till you see stunt track wide straight. This is what it looks like. So what you do with this first piece is you go to your, in between your turn 1 and 2, like that middle checkpoint, like I'm hovering over now.
Yep.
Just put it right over it. Then you go down to advanced options and you sink it down. Now if you just sat here and held left, this is how slow it goes. It's like a crawl. If you hold triangle as you're holding left, it sinks it down a little bit faster. And if you hold left triangle and R3, it like super sinks it. Alright, so that's a trick right there that'll save you a ton of time.
Alright.
Once you get down to, pretty close to the bottom, keep going, keep going. Here's the important part. So you hit circle, you go into override rotation, check it. The second value is going to give you your banking. So see how it starts out on 0? If I go this way, it starts out on 360. So if I go to 358, that's a 2-degree banking. If I go to 355, it's 5 degrees. 350, it's 10, and etc.
Yep.
So we'll just, like I said, we're going to keep this one nice and simple. We'll go with a 3-degree banking. That way you don't even have to worry about transitions or nothing. So 3-degree banking. So once you have that banking, you press circle, you go back into position, you go to the Z value, and you drop it down. And basically what you want to do is just drop it down until it hides the rumble strips on the bottom.
Yep.
Like so. So once those are gone, it's good. You check it, you make sure, zoom in, there's no rumble strips, you're good. So you exit out, press X, now that piece is set. Then go to stunt blocks. This is just a piece that I like to use. You can use anything for this is going to be called the pendulum piece, but you could use anything here. It doesn't have to be a block. It could be any other prop, basically.
Yep.
And what you try to imagine is basically this is going to be the piece that swings that banking piece from left to right. So the distance between this piece and the banking piece is going to create the radius of this turn. So the way we have our checkpoints laid out, typically you want to line up this red piece with the checkpoints from left to right. So a line should be able to go across basically the center of them. I back it up just a little bit and try to imagine if those pieces were connected with something and you were swinging it from left to right, would it hit both of those checkpoints? So from right here, right where it sits now, I think it's pretty good. This will give us the radius that we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and set it. We might have to, this is trial and error. We might have to move it a couple times to get the right radius, but we'll see. So now we have the first stage of our template made. So you go in the props, go all the way to the right to templates. And when you're in props, all this is in alphabetical order too. So if you're looking for templates, boom, you just go past the S section, bam. You go to create template. Now, very important, the first prop you select is going to be this piece. That's your pendulum piece.
Yep.
And then you come to your banking piece. Select. Save template. GGG. Alright. So now, what we have here is our template piece. And this is how you make a turn. So, before we delete these two pieces, we're going to hover over it and make sure it's given us the radius that we're looking for. So we'll go ahead and we'll put it in like the same spot. And just, if you press R1 and L1, it turns it. So if you do L1, turns it this way. If you do R1, turns it this way.
Okay.
And see how it's pretty spot on. I mean, as you go left to right, it follows that checkpoint line basically almost perfectly. So we got lucky there. It's good. We don't have to fuck with it. So what we'll do, turn prop stacking off. We'll delete this piece by pressing square. We'll delete this piece by pressing square. Now it deletes the checkpoint when you do that, but it's not a big deal. You just go back in the checkpoints and just put it back, which it was about right here. Alright, so now that we have our template, again, good save point.
Yep.
And that's how I do it, man. I save it because I hate doing shit twice. I hate it. Fucking hate it.
That's right. Yeah, we don't lose it.
You know, even though it only took a couple minutes to make that template, like, no one wants to do that twice.
Oh, that's right.
Alright, so here's where it gets a little technical. So you go into templates, we're ready to start setting our turns. Now, there's a couple ways you could do this. Like Adder, I'm pretty sure, does his straightaways first. So he would actually lay a piece here as his straightaway, and then do the same thing on this side. So he would have two straightaways here, and then he would start his turns.
Okay, yeah.
I do it different. So I do my turns and then my straightaways.
Yep.
The best way to do that is you're going to hover directly over it, just like this. And once you're over it like this, you don't touch the left joystick. Because if you move it that much, your whole turn's going to be fucked up. So once you have that track piece, we're on that checkpoint in the back, on checkpoint 2 like it is, it's right in the center, that's right where we want it.
Yep.
Don't touch the left joystick. At this point, you only touch L1 and R1. So to move it over here, like this, we're just going to press R1 until it does that. If we wanted to move it left, we're going L1.
Yep.
So what you start on one side. So we're going to start on this side. I go from right to left for some reason. I don't know. You could go this way from left and then go right, but I just do it this way. So here's where I get about a foot from my TV to make sure that it's good, because I can't see. But basically, right where it meets up with that straightaway checkpoint line, you want it at a 90-degree angle, like it is.
Yep.
And you're going to press X, press square, press L1, L1, L1. And see how it creates that little line there?
Oh, yep.
Once you do that, you press X again, press square, L1, L1, L1. And now, see how these two lines, the darker lines, are a little bit different. One's thicker than the other.
Yeah, yep.
So you want those lines to match. So even though I pressed L1 3 times like I did the last time, it didn't register the same. So we're going to make it match. So you just tap L1 a little bit until it matches, like so. I'll wait for it to catch up. They look even on your screen?
Yep.
Yep. So once it does that, it's at this point it's just rinse and repeat. So you press X.
Okay. Yep.
You press square. L1, L1, L1. Bam. Press X. Square. And as long as those lines match, it'll be a smooth track. And as long as you don't space them too far apart. Like if I was to space it, like if I pressed X right there and made that line like that, there'd be a huge dip in the track and the whole ass end would go down. So you don't want the lines much thicker than you're seeing right there.
Yeah. Yep.
So again, X, square, L1, 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 L1. So I'm just going to go ahead and rip through this real quick. I think you get the gist of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is why I have to get close to my TV, because if I'm sitting far away, it won't be...
So it's just a gap distance.
Yeah. So after you complete the turn, you want to go all the way to the other side, like all the way. So it takes a minute. And as you can imagine, on like the bigger tracks, I mean, it gets real crazy.
Oh, for sure.
On the bigger tracks, you have to zoom out way more. I mean, you're almost in the clouds on some of those big tracks, trying to look down at the little ass lines, and it's like, oh my god. But it's important to never move that left joystick too, because if you move it just a quarter, if you move it at all, your whole turn radius is fucked up, and you have to start completely over.
So you just use a 101.
Mm-hmm. And there are ways to do this to where you don't have the lines on the track like that, but that's a lesson for a different day.
Yeah.
This is just the basics here. Alright, so we're almost there. We got 2 more pieces to set. Alright, so there's the first turn. Now what I do after I build the turn is I test it. So we'll go into race details. I'm going to set the default vehicle to the hot ring, because that's obviously what the track is being made for.
Yeah.
Alright, you'd either go to test, so you go to the turn, and you just slowly drive over it and see if your wheels are moving, see if the car's bouncing. So let's give it a little bit better of a run here, see what happens. Yep. So the ass end isn't moving at all. There's no bouncing, so that turn it's perfect. Check the outside. Yep. Alright. So now, and here's why it's important to line up your checkpoints good to begin with. So where I don't lay the straightaways in right off the bat, like Adder does, we're going to set this other turn, and let's say these checkpoints were off just a little bit.
Yep.
Then the track is going to be offset. So if these checkpoints were off, and let's say I started here instead of in the center where it should be, and I do the turn, you're going to have an offset type track, and that is not what we want. So basically, you're just going to, because that checkpoint should be in the very center of that track piece. Bulldogs no longer in party. You there? You there? Oh, I don't know what happened. It said you were no longer in the party.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Alright, so we're basically lined up. I was just saying that checkpoint is a little bit off. It should be right in the center of that track piece.
Yep.
So once we got that lined up, what's up, Financial Investments? Sounds like a spam account, but whatever. Alright, so we're lined up. We're going to go ahead and start doing this turn. What's up, Magnus? Alright, so I panned out a little bit just to make sure we're lined up good, and it looks like we are. So if you could envision a straightaway piece there connecting the beginning of this turn to the turn that's down there, it's pretty spot on. If you look at that,
Yeah. Looks like it'll line up alright.
I don't know who that is. But are you a moderator in my YouTube channel, Bulldogs? No?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you're about to be. Oh, what's up, Bala? Alright, so let's go ahead and we'll start laying this turn. So X square L1 L1 L1. So I'm actually pressing L1 about 5 times. L1
Oh.
L1 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 L1. Glad to hear it, Bala. We're just sitting here teaching my buddy how to build a NASCAR track. So typically I put a lot more time into building these turns, and I make sure,
Yeah.
you know, they are like perfect.
Yep.
This will just be a casual playlist type track.
Yep.
Oh, there's a problem. Alright, we have our first
Tree.
problem, Bulldogs. Yep.
Tree.
Tree in the track. I should have foreseen that. Alright, so we're going to have to delete these pieces. It's going to delete that checkpoint. Probably. Oh, didn't do it. Oh, now it did. Alright, so basically we're just going to have to slide that part of the track back towards this side a little bit.
Yep.
We're going to have to replace that checkpoint, though, so I kind of have an idea. Bala, we are not having a battle against RCRH. They politely declined a battle, so there will be no RCRH torque battle, my friend. Alright, so we had to back this checkpoint up a little bit. We're going to have to back this one up a little bit. I'm going to back this one up a little bit more. I just don't want to have to delete the turn again. Alright, so here we should have plenty of clearance. We shouldn't have to worry about that damn tree now. This one's a little bit off. Finish line's throwing me off too. And these checkpoints are all going to be moved. I mean, this is just a guideline.
Yeah. Yep.
Alright, so the checkpoints look good. Yeah, I was sorry to hear it too, Bella. Alright, hold on. This checkpoint's a little fucky. It's fucking with me. Yeah, it's still off. If Holt ever changes his mind, we'll be ready. We did talk about doing maybe a casual playlist together one day, RCRH and Torque, but that was the last I heard about that. Alright, so now that these checkpoints are good, we're going to go ahead and get this turn done.
Yep.
Alright, so we're going to have to start this one about right here. And we're going to miss that tree this time by a good amount, so that's good.
Yep.
It's going to be a little ass track, man. This will be one of the smallest tracks I've ever made. Alright, so let's do it. X square L1 L1 L1. So to anyone out there that might be watching that says NASCAR tracks are easy to build, I challenge you to build one, because this is an easy one here. We're already going on close to an hour. There's at least an hour left, if not more. So is it easy to create a bank turn? Yeah, definitely. As you can see, you could create one in fucking 5 minutes. But is it easy to line them up, put walls on it, transitions, pit road, all that? Not so much. See, Bulldogs, if I could find a fucking job doing this for a living, I'd be real happy. This would be the goal, man.
Email the resume to Rockstar, brother.
Yeah. What's up, Spoli? Just building the track, man. Building the track. Alright, so actually we'll do one more. I'm probably gonna end up deleting this piece that I'm putting in here. Yeah, you know what? I ain't even putting that piece in there. Fuck it. Alright, so now we got that piece in. We'll go ahead and get rid of this. We don't need this no more. Anytime you're going to delete a piece, turn prop stacking off.
Alright.
We will test this turn. Wheels aren't bouncing at all. Looks real good. Very smooth. Alright, so now we're at another good save point.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so now we got our turns. Turns are good. I'm gonna save it. Don't mind me, I saved it twice just to be sure.
Never be too sure.
Yeah.
Not with this game.
So what I do from here is I just go ahead and delete the checkpoints because it's pointless to have them up there right now. So if you go to placement, go to option, or what is it? Placement, delete options, delete all checkpoints. Alright, so now we're going to do our straightaways. So this part can be a little tricky, and this is probably why Adder does them first, and then you just line up the turns to the straightaways instead of the straightaways to the turns. But either way, it's, you know, it's tomatoes.
Mm.
So first thing I do is we're gonna need, I mean, you could use different pieces here. The easiest piece is gonna be Magnus always save twice. Yeah, man. So if you go to stunt set pieces, within there you're gonna have the stunt runway, which is typically what the straightaways are made out of. So you go to set pieces, then one click to the left, and you have the runway. Now this is a gigantic ass piece for a little ass straightaway. But here's what we're gonna do. First thing is, you see the curbing down there on the inside that I'm kind of lining up with the inside of the turns?
Yep.
So you kind of line that up like so. You go to advanced options. You lock it in place by locking in the position. Press circle. Go to the rotation. Now this track is banked at 3 degrees. So, whoops, not that one. We're going to have to bank this at 3 degrees, which is going to be 357. You go back into position. It's going to have to slide over this way. And then come up. Alright. So see how it's translucent and you can't really see what you're doing? It's like hard to see.
Yeah.
So if you move this little red cursor off of the map like so.
Mm-hmm.
See how it highlights it now?
Oh, yep, yep.
Alright, so now it's kind of hard because you have to, now you can't move the cursor, but you pick it up and down, and you just want it to bite into both turn pieces. So see how if I slowly click it up, it's slowly biting into both turns?
Yep.
Boom. Right there, it seems to be pretty close lined up where it needs to be. So now we'll get a closer look. So
And
it's
you're
going to be,
leaving the sort of gaps, you're leaving the gaps too the same as like where the turns are. Like you see how the dark grey and the light grey in the turns.
yep, this line right here, yep.
Yep.
So if you get up close, I mean, you can see that it's hard, but you could see it right here. There's a little line, and if you follow it, boom, it's bit into this turn piece, which means it's not, you're not going to drop onto it, so to speak. It's going to be one
Yep.
smooth transition. So now we'll go check this side. On this side, it's barely bit into it. I mean, just by a fucking hair. But it
Yeah.
don't, as long as it's bit into it, it don't matter. So it's a little uneven, but it's fine. It'll work. Um, so what we'll do is we'll zoom out. And here's where we could decide where we want to hide this piece, because yeah, we do, Bala. Most of us do anyway. So we could either hide it to the left or we could hide it to the right. Now, I plan on highlighting this train track bridge as part of the track, so the part's going to be pretty open. So we're going to go ahead and slide it that way towards that lake or sea, whatever the fuck
Yep.
that is. So we'll slide it, and if you move it this way, it's not affecting the straightaway because it's a long ass piece. So as long as we don't slide it too far, we'll be fine. So you just get a good vantage point. You slide it all the way down. Boom. Okay. And we're going to make those curb pieces line up a little bit. Like so.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be good. Should be good. How come you got kicked from Torque, Bella? I mean, off the top of my head, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was due to inactivity. There's a certain number of events that our members have to attend to stay within Torque. I don't know if that was the reason. That was a long time ago, but I can inquire about that. So back to the straightaway. It looks good on this side. And looks good on this side. So let's go ahead and try it. It's pretty fucking good. Have a good night, Bella. Alright, so there's one straightaway. Excuse me for 1 second, Bulldogs.
Yeah, man.
Alright, I'm back. It's my mom's birthday.
Yeah.
She called me. It's like,
Okay.
let me off the phone, woman. Alright, so we'll go ahead and we'll do this other straightaway. So it's same thing. It's same piece. We just got to do it over again.
Yep.
So line up those curbs basically with the inside of the turn, like so. Lock it in. Go to rotation. Go to 3. Alright, so this one we gotta back up a little bit. Alright, so it's biting in on this side.
Mm-hmm.
And it's biting in on this side. It's a little uneven. So what we're gonna do, is you go into rotation, you go to this bottom value. It'll move it from left to right, like so. So we're gonna do it till it's about like that. There we go. That's better. So it's pretty even on both sides now.
Yep.
See, this one's gonna be harder because it's a mountainside. Unless we could get a... Yeah, see, it's not wanting to... Damn it. This one's gonna be the... Because it's not wanting to highlight for some reason. So even though the cursor is way off of it, let's see how far we'd have to actually back up. There it is. Dang, that's far. Alright, so now that we're 6 miles away, if you slowly... You can still see it though. So if I go up and down, coming out of turn 4, you can still see it moving. So if I make it even with those other turn pieces like so,
Yep.
that looks about right. Now we'll go all the way back over. Just make sure it's still, yep, still biting in. It's biting in plenty on this side. Probably a little bit too much, to be honest. Yeah, it is too much. We're going to lower it a little bit to right about there. The reason you don't want it to bite in too much is because it messes with the radius of the turn.
Okay.
So
Yep.
what that's going to mean is right here you're going to have one thick ass black line that's not going to match with these, but it won't matter because it's on the straightaway anyway, so it really won't matter. Just it's not the most appealing per se.
Yep.
Alright, so now that's lined up, we're just going to go ahead and line up the curb piece like so. And what you're really looking for is to line up the white line. The curbs don't really matter because those are going to be blocked.
Yeah.
But that white line is good over here. It's a little fucked up over here. I could live with that though. That'll probably be covered up by wall anyway. So now what we're going to do is slide it all the way over to that lake side like we did with the other.
Other one. Yep.
Alright. Set it. And all this excess you see over here, this is all going to be blocked off by walls and decoration, so you literally won't see any of that. Alright, so we officially have a track. As you can see, you do have that one dark spot that we talked about up here. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Let's give it a go. It's pretty smooth, man. There's not any bump in it at all.
Oh, that's alright.
I mean, just the smallest bump over that one little black spot. There is a way we can fix that. Alright. Yeah,
That was
it's gonna
just
be.
going into turn one.
What's that?
That bump you're talking about, is that just going into turn one?
It's coming out of this one back here, coming out of 4.
4, yeah.
And I don't even know if it's a bump or it's just a visual thing because I'm going over that black spot, but
Yeah, I didn't notice it.
we'll see. But coming down this straightaway, coming to the finish line, seeing that bridge in the background, the canyon, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that wide open. I mean, I'm gonna put walls up, but other than that, I'm gonna leave that nice and open.
Yep.
And then coming around, you have the mountains in the background. So it'd be pretty cool. Alright, so save point. And now you're going to see what I mean about the platform and why we probably didn't need all those pieces at the beginning, but let's see. So to change the color, go to props, prop stacking off. Alright, so there's a white one, a gray one, a yellow one, a yellow one. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces where we could get away with just having one piece.
Yep.
So what we'll do, delete, delete, and always be careful when you're deleting. You gotta make sure you're on the right piece. Delete, delete. Because the name of the game here is saving props everywhere you can.
Yeah.
So what
Gonna
we'll
get
do.
200, don't you?
Yeah, we're already at. I mean, the whole track is built now. We're at 50, so we're in great shape.
Yeah.
But still, you always want to save as many as you can. So let's say I did fuck up and I deleted the wrong piece. You could always just exit out of Creator because we did that save point and then just load it back in and redo it.
Yep.
But we're good, so we're just going to basically reset this white piece, so then we just have one platform piece instead of 4. So we'll pick it up, and you kind of just get it somewhat in place. You could press L3 to lift it up, R3 to put it down. So basically, it's going to be about right there. You just want to hide the curbs, so we'll go to an advanced. And again, it's translucent. You got to move it off of the map like that. Alright, so we want to pick it up. Slowly, right there. So we have no curbs visible on this side. Check the other side just to be sure. No curbs visible on this side. Set it. So boom, now we got one piece instead of 4.
Oh, yep.
So I usually turn these dark green. I think it looks nicer dark green. But you could do light green. Could do whatever, black, gray.
Yeah.
Dark green. Alright, so now we'll save it again. Alright, here comes the absolute most heinous part of building. I'm going to have to smoke my CBD real quick to deal with this. Alright. So, yeah, I just hit the 1 month mark. No weed, so that's good.
That's good.
It's crazy. It's already been a month.
Yeah, doesn't take long.
Alright, so for walls, you have many different options. Oops. I find it easiest to use the stunt blocks, these here. So there's different sizes. You could do a 1x2, which you really don't want. That's too many. You don't want to use that. You do a 1x3, which is what we're going to use here. Or if you're on a bigger track, 1x4, 1x5, or you could even go bigger and use like these gigantic pieces.
Yep.
Like on super speedways.
Yep.
They did just give us these new props, stunt barriers. You could use these. I personally don't like using them simply because this is the longest one they give us, is this 16 section piece. And as you can
Okay.
see, it barely covers this straightaway, which is the smallest straightaway known to man. So I absolutely hate using these pieces because you have to
Yep.
use 2, 3, 4 on a
Yeah.
straightaway where it should not be the case.
Wasting your props.
Yeah. So we'll use the blocks. The way I do it is I do the straightaways first. So on the straightaways, you could get away with using a bigger piece. You could use any piece that's long enough to get you from the turn to the other turn. So on this one, it's probably going to be this 21. I might use the 28 by 23 just to be safe, just to make sure I got enough. Yeah, so it's going to have to be the 28. And what we'll do is you go to advanced options. Alright, so you see how we're at 90 degrees right now. That's
Yep.
straight up and down. Obviously, we don't want it straight up and down because if a car hits that, it's just going to go right over. So
Yep.
you want to angle it in at least 20 degrees from the angle. So the track's at 3, so you want it at about 70 degrees, maybe even 65, just to ensure that nobody's going over.
Yep.
So what we'll do, we're actually going to spin it around. Alright. Now we'll angle it in to about 65, we'll say. Actually, we'll go 70. We'll get away with 70. I think 65 would be overkill here. So what you do is you just line it up on that curb line, and you're basically just trying to hide it. So you just kind of bring it in a little bit. Once it's lined up, you go to position, lock it into place, and then sink it down. And here's an important part. When you're sinking it down, hello, I don't know who you are, but thank you for being here and watching. Once you sink it down, you want to... So, see the dots on the back here? Anything
Yep.
3 dots or less is kind of what you're looking for. Adder does his at 2. He has a very low profile wall, looks nice. I usually do mine at about 2.5, just to kind of ensure that it holds the cars in. So that's about that. I'm gonna slide it to the left a little bit just so it's even on both sides. And you see how there's a little bit of excess? You have about, I don't know, 10 feet of excess over here.
Yep.
10 over here, maybe even more. You know, it's something I'm gonna have to live with. You know, it bothers me. Like, it'd be perfect if this piece ended right here on both sides.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So it's pretty much there. We're at about 2.5, almost 3 dots. We'll set it. Same thing on this side. So we're at 90. We need to go to 70, except the pieces flip, so instead of minusing, you'll just add, so it'd be 110 on this side.
Right, yeah.
And I could spin it, like if I wanted it to be the same, I could just go like this, and then just turn it to 70. So it don't matter, it's just a matter of doing it backwards or whatever.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's pretty much lined up. Sink it down. Whoops. Alright, still a little high. Sink it down. Check the back. So we're at about 2.5 right there, same as the other side. We got about 8 feet of excess over here. And almost no excess over here, so we'll slide it a little bit. Looks good, looks good. Bam. Save point. Alright, and now is the rinse and repeat part of the turns. I just want to try it real quick with walls on it, see what it looks like. So typically, if you line up the hot ring next to it, it should be the same height. This one is, I mean, just a tad higher, which is fine. If I wanted to be super picky, I could go in and lower it another foot, but I'm not stressing that. But anytime you set a wall piece, before you move on, you want to test it. Hit it as hard as you can.
Yep. Make
Boom.
sure they go over the top.
Yep. So there was no lift out of my tires. The car didn't lift at all, and that's all you want. Basically, you don't want the right front tire to lift when it hits that wall, which that's perfect. Alright, so here comes the turns. This is fucking the worst part of this, in my opinion. So you go to the smaller block. We're going to do a 1x3. Switch the color to red. Alright, and what I try to do is I try to line it up. So it's going to be about right here on this angle. So I'll come down here. Options, rotation, and we got to angle it to, whoop, not that one. The second value, Y value. And it's going to be, we need 70 degrees. So on this side it's backwards. So we need, it starts at 360, we need 290. Alright, once you have it at 290, you just kind of get it up here. Move it in place a little bit. And we're going to be covering up that white line. So I basically just want it just in front of that white line, biting into the blue piece a little bit.
Yep.
Just like so. Go into position, lock it in place. Then you zoom in and you just lower it down till it just meets that one, just like that. Okay. Now, boom, rinse and repeat. The frickin' bug in here. What the hell is that? Alright, so I like to change the colors in between each piece. It just makes it easier to set them.
You can go back and change them after that.
Mm-hmm, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, these will be red and white here at the end. Alright, so now, boom. You just want it to bite into that one. You might have to adjust it a little bit, moving it left to right like this. Just have it bite in a little. Okay, once it's pretty close, go into position, lower it. And here's the part where it gets kind of easy-ish. So if you come to the back of it, it creates like a little bow tie, per se.
Yep.
And as long as these match, so see how I just had to adjust it a little bit to make it like symmetrical?
Yep.
As long as those match going around this turn, the walls will be perfect. So let's just rinse and repeat again. Back to red, just kind of angle it. Rotation, 290. Once you have that, kind of biting in a little bit, position. Alright, so this one's a little off, I could already tell. I think my friggin' cat has fleas or something. Got this one flea, it's like bothering the fuck out of me. Alright, so... like so. Whenever you're lining up this side, remember that it obviously moves this side too. So we're trying to keep that white line covered all the way around. So basically on this side, you always just want to make sure that the end is like right near that white line, and just picture the next blue piece is going to be cutting off that little chunk of white that's going to be showing right there.
Yeah.
So boom, we'll set it. Back to blue. Line it up. Options, rotation, second value, 290. Oh, did we get turned around here? What's happening? I think we got turned around here. There it is. Alright, so we'll get her lined up, move it around. Looks good. Looks good on this side. Boom. Hey, what's up, Retro? How you doing, bud? Yeah, patience is definitely something that's needed for these, as you could see, man. And this is, I mean, this is the smallest track ever, and you can see we're going on an hour now, and we're getting there. We almost got the walls done, but we still got a ways to go. So it definitely requires patience. This is the least fun part. So for me, once we get past the walls and I get to start decorating, that's when Creator becomes real fun, and you could really turn it into your own and kind of put your own stamp on it. But it certainly requires patience, an eye for detail. Yeah, so far it drives pretty good. You'll be able to bookmark it here in about an hour and a half. Try it out for yourself. I will post it in the Slack chat. So, as you could see, Bulldogs, this is why turns are fucking terrible. It's really not, I mean, some people enjoy it, like some people don't mind doing this. But
once you get the knack of it type of thing and how it works when you're doing front and rear to line them up and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like pretty straightforward, just time consuming, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what I least look forward to when I know I'm going to start a build. So again, you just line it up. Looks good, looks good. And you get into a rhythm when you're doing it. I mean, sometimes I'll have a turn like this take me an hour because I get, busy doing other stuff, and then I'll walk away from it. But if you get into a rhythm and you get going, it gets easier. Sorry, my kids came in.
There you go.
Like, are you streaming? so we're getting there. Bear with me.
Hey, alright.
Bam, bam. We're about, yeah, we're past the halfway point of this turn for sure. Yeah. Now this is an easier track too. Like this is the same degree banking all the way around. So like
Yeah,
let's say
yeah.
the turns were at 10 degrees and the straightaways were at, flat or at 3, then you'd have to get into transitions and how to do that. And that's a little more complicated, but not terrible. But I
Yeah.
would recommend for your first one just build one that's the same banking.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna be like, yo, teach me how to build a GP or a Roval or something. I was not expecting Bulldogs to want to build an oval.
I like the ovals. I like the ovals more, but I like the ovals. Some of them are real good.
Well, the good thing is once you build an oval, you could turn it into a Roval.
Oval, yeah.
I mean, not this one. It'd be fucking
Yeah.
real small, but. Some people actually do these turns out of templates too. Like you could create a template like we did for the bank turn, for the
So
banking.
you've already got it set.
I've never done it like that. I guess some people do it like that, like Drake. But I don't know, man. Every time I try shortcuts, it always ends up taking longer. So I tend to do it the way that I know. Alright, we're almost there. A couple more pieces on this side. And we're doing great on props. We're gonna have 120 props, 30 props decorate with. Which is, it's absurd. I mean, usually you end up with about 30 props to decorate with.
Yeah.
On a normal track. Because there will be no pit road here or anything. I'm not putting a pit road on here.
No.
I gotta see what time the Rays are playing on Saturday or tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna make it, man. If it's a 7 o'clock game, they should be done by 10:30, 10:45. So I'll definitely be. If it's an 8 o'clock game, I don't know, man. See, unless they get they're up like 5-0 or something.
Yeah, I got days off at the minute. I get back to work till next Thursday.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm supposed to start a new job tomorrow. So.
Alright.
We will see how that goes. Alright, so hopefully just one more piece and we'll be good. Actually, I'm going to adjust this one a little bit. It's a little bit too much white line showing there. Alright, that's better. We might get away with one piece here. It's going to be close. It's really going to be frustrating if it's not. Might have to use a bigger piece. I have OCD, so like if I have to use a 1x4 every time I do this track, I'm gonna be like, oh, that's all 1x3s, and then there's one 1x4.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't bother 99% of people, but it'll bother me. Yep. So we're gonna have to use 2 pieces here. It's gonna be, yeah. Can't have that. Might even have to use a 1x5. Ugh. Well, let's try it. See, there's just so much excess. If you use a bigger piece,
Yeah.
that's another, like, saving props is one of the main things you try to do, but also not having excess is a big part of creating. Alright, so yeah, that'll work. Barely by the fucking. Whew, that's close.
Just.
Now, ideally, yeah, that's what I thought. So I went straight down. We're gonna have to change this color to get a better view. There we go. So the straightaway wall is just a hair higher than the turn wall. So see how it's even there, and down here it's a little bit higher.
Oh, yeah.
So what we got to do is make sure, yeah, that is biting in enough. That's pretty close. But what we do is you go into rotation, and this first value will actually tilt it. So you just kind of do it to where it's the same distance above both, like so. Maybe a little less right there. Then go into position, go back to height, drop it down. There we go. Alright, so that is one complete turn. It's not perfect right there, but I mean, I could live with that. That's not terrible.
Close enough.
So set it. Now what I'll do, I will save it, because that would suck. Oops. I'm going to change the color just to kind of get a feel for what it looks like. So white, red, white, red, white, red. Oh, I fucked up. This should be white. Should be red. Alright. So there's a proper wall. Let's give it a go. Oh yeah. Beautiful. So it looks good. We'll give it a quick test.
Yep.
Boom. Bulldogs dive bombs a corner, hits me. Bam! Alright, so that's good. Walls look good. Creator options. We'll knock this other one out real quick. I'm going to change these runway pieces to black. Just kind of blend in a little bit more than red will.
So when you go to change the colour of a piece, you just like hover over it with that cursor part, do you?
Yep. So any piece you want to change, you just put it on there, and then R1 or L1, and
Yep.
change it to whatever color you'd like.
Yep.
And the same if you want to delete something, if you want to pick something up like that and move it, you just hover over that appropriate piece, and then
Yep.
that's it. Alright, so back to the wall. 1x3. We'll start with a... This time I'll just do it in the proper color. Just save a minute here. So same thing, it's going to be same degree. And some, like at the beginning when I first started creating, I'd actually write down all these numbers, and like that way, if I had to leave or anything,
That's what I'm doing.
yeah, I'd always have it like, oh, that wall was at 290, and then boom. Alright, so that right about there looks good. Position. And again, because there's no transitions on this track, sometimes the walls are a little more difficult. You gotta do transition walls and all that.
Yep.
Which it basically all that means is you gotta angle them like we did on that other side there where the walls didn't line up. I would have had to
Yep.
angle that down to kind of match the transition.
Alright, yep.
But you'll get it, man. First thing that you build one like this, that's easy just to get the feel for it then.
Yep.
Alright, so again, you just want to match them up on the back. Alright, so this one's got a little bit too much of the white line showing. We're gonna bring it in a little bit. Twist it a little bit. And then pick it up a little bit. It just kind of covers up that white.
Right, yep.
And you could, I mean, if you wanted, you could leave that white line within the turn so it'd be right on the inside of that wall all the way around. I hate doing that. It just makes it, because it's too nitpicky. Because it has to be perfect, you know. But so that's why I choose not to leave that there. How are you feeling? You feeling like pretty confident, like you might be able to do this next time?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a crack. That's for sure.
Yeah. So this is the same way I showed Adder, and he caught on remarkably quick.
Yep.
But yeah, this is the best way to learn, man. This is the same way I was taught. Someone built one right in front of me, and I was like, oh, alright, I could do that. The shit I was making before that was, oh my god. I honestly, I wish I still had them. I deleted them a long time ago, but I wish I still had them. You guys would fucking die if you seen the shit I used to make. Alright, almost halfway there. Oh, tomorrow's not even Saturday. What the fuck am I thinking? Tomorrow's Friday.
Well, you're around here Friday. Yeah, that's right. I was just about to say the same thing. I thought I got Rally Masters in the morning, but I'm thinking... Well, it actually is in the morning for me, but...
I forgot about that. Yeah, I probably ain't gonna be able to make that either.
He's starting a series up, I think, isn't he? Well,
Yeah.
I don't think it's tomorrow. I think it's next week, though, he said.
Oh, I thought it was tomorrow. It's a good idea. I like what they're doing. Seems like it'll be fun.
Yeah, I don't mind some of them, actually.
I just hope on
Yeah,
like
sure.
the rally races he does non-con. I hate with a passion
Yeah.
doing rally on contact.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same.
Alright, so boom. Past the halfway point.
I had a good run last week on one of the tracks he's using for, I think it was that Daz's Rally or something, I think it was called.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those ones where you come around underneath a bridge and if you go too hard, you'll miss the checkpoint. It takes you out too wide.
Mm-hmm.
I missed the checkpoint on the first lap and then come back and won the whole race. Beat a lot of them.
Nice. Yeah, Dazer's Rally, that's one of my friends. Danger Awesome too. He's got some good shit. Good creations. Tried to get him into Torque a few times. That's the problem. They limit the crews, so like you can only join 5 crews, which might seem like, you know, who needs to be in 5 crews, but there's a lot of people out there that would join if they had more crew space.
Oh, for sure.
Alright. We're almost there. Almost to the decorations. So typically after walls I would go straight to pit road and start doing that.
Yeah.
But there's no need for that here. I mean, there could be a pit road here, but it would never be used as like an event track, so.
No, that's right.
2 more pieces. Alright, so this one's pretty far off. There we go. Yeah, it might take 2 more. See, I could use a longer one here, but I don't know, I might bite into the track too much. I don't know. I'll see what it looks like. Oops. It's not terrible. It is biting in a little bit, but I'll show you what I mean. So see how it just kind of bit away this like little...
Yeah, great, yeah.
Like
Makes
1
squares
foot.
it off and...
Yeah. I mean, it's not much different than we did on this side, to be honest. So I'm gonna go with it. We might be able to back it up just a little bit. Right there. Yeah, I could live with that. Alright, so again, we got the same thing over here. It's higher than it is in the turn, and we need to slide it over a little bit. So first, let's get it slid over like so. And now we need to do this. About right there. Boom. And actually, what I'm going to do, since it's angled up running this way, I'm actually going to slide it back this way because it'll kind of hide it a little bit. Because if it's all the way like this, see over here, you could kind of see it sticking up.
Yeah.
But if I slide it back, it hides it. Alright, so we'll do that. There we go. Change the color. Alright, save. Let's go ahead and give it a test. It's got walls on it. It's all out in the stock hot ring, but it feels like in a custom there will be a slight let off. Definitely a lot of let off and slipstream. So Adder's gonna love this track for sure. Yeah, it looks pretty good, man. It's
Yeah, it's so annoying.
I like the backdrop, the mountains,
Yeah.
bridge. Let's see what it's gonna look like at night. It's cool. It's got those red lights on it. You can see a little tunnel. Oh yeah. Awesome nighttime track.
Good.
Alright. So switch it back. Alright, so now the fun begins. It's all decorations from this point forward. No pit road. Alright, so we already know this is going to be the front stretch where the finish line is. So the first thing, we'll make a start finish line. Use the same prop you use for the walls.
Yep.
Just put it right about where I think I want it right in the middle of this straightaway. We will go to white, advanced options, rotation. Now it's 3 degrees, so again, it's going to be 3 degrees. Okay. Now we just got to lower it down. Okay, now sink it in a little bit so there's no excess. Boom. There's your finish line. Alright, now we'll make a little flag stand. And this is all like, I mean, you don't have to do it exactly like this. This is all, it just depends on how you want to do it.
Yep.
So on one of these pieces, the stunt race track, see that little flag stand at the top? There's like a little sign. I don't know if you
Oh
can
yeah,
see
yep,
it.
yep, yep.
So
Yeah,
what
I
you
can see it.
do,
Yep.
that's the only piece we want of that whole prop. So we'll kind of just hover over the finish line with that. And then you're going to sink it on down, all the way down. Okay. Now you'll zoom in. We'll slide it over to where it should be. Okay. And you want it to be right at the front of that white line, so we'll move it up a little bit. Alright. Now we're going to sink it down a little bit just because we don't want the rumble strips sticking up in the track at all. So you want to sink it down, sink it down. I'm just going to go all the way to right here. Okay. That looks pretty good. So see how it's translucent? Won't let me set it.
Yep.
Okay. You got to put the cursor off. Now it's highlighted. Boom. So out of that gigantic prop, this whole friggin' monstrosity. Yeah, we just needed that one little sign. So we'll check it. Looks good. Alright. So now it's kind of like, it's really, I mean, you could help with this part. You know, obviously we wanted to keep this side open. That's why we picked this spot. But the rest of this, you know, where do we want grandstands? So to me, this side is where I would place the grandstands. Just because it's going to look like, if you're over here on the track and you look over, it's going to look like a floating platform.
Oh, yeah.
So the grandstands, it's in that same prop. You just basically, you go to advanced options, flip it around until it says 180. That means that you flipped it all the way. Okay, now you sync it. Now you give it a little bit of tilt. So this is just kind of an eye by eye type thing here.
Yeah.
Alright, so basically I wanted to cover up that, and I wanted to cover up those rumble strips. So like that. We gotta twist it a little bit. Perfect. Pick it up a little bit more. Boom. And that's kind of what you're looking for. You always want to come on this side and make sure it's not in the track on this side of the wall, of course.
Yeah.
Which it's not. So now you go down the track level and you kind of get a car view. So this is what it looks like where it currently sits. So to me, I would bring it in a little bit. About right there, maybe. Kind of double check. Still all looks good. Set it. We'll change the color. This is all, preference. But you could have that. You could have just a plain piece. Light gray, which I tend to usually go with this one. But you could pick any of these, really, whatever colors and theme you're going for.
Well, yep.
So over here, we got some serious work to do with excess covering. Let's go ahead and create a save point. Alright. So I believe on this side, we'll do the same thing, but I still want that mountain in the background. So there's two ways you could do this. You could do it the way I just did it, which will take a minute, or you could do it like this and create a template. Which basically you just take a piece, kind of set it right in the middle, like so. Go to template, create new, select, save, GGG, delete this piece, and you come over here, go to the template, voila. So templates can be very handy if you're doing something that's repetitive.
Yeah.
If it's a repetitive task that you're going to do 10 of, yeah, definitely create a template, and it makes your life way easier. All right, so this you kind of just want to line up with the other one. So we'll pan out, line it up. Curbs are still showing a little bit, which I'm scared to get too close to the track because I can't. See, the thing with templates is you can't go into advanced options and get a bird's eye view. Like I can't. Yeah. You got to do it kind of by eye. So right here, I think that's about as close as I'm going to get. So I'll set it, check it out, make sure it's not in the track at all, which it's not. Looks good. We still can see the mountain and everything, so that's cool. We'll delete this piece. Boom. Alright, so you could actually use this over here, but it's a little bit too big, and it's, unless you were to go something like this all the way around the turn, like set this, then come here,
Do it, yeah.
set this all the way around. We could do that, which that honestly it might be our best bet. And you got to remember you won't see any of the excess in there. So you know what? Here, let's go ahead and create a save point. We'll try it and we'll see what it looks like. All right, so basically just come right up to the wall. And see how I'm lining it up to make those V's?
Yeah.
That's
All the same. Yeah.
yeah, that's the key here, is you want it to be, that's what separates the best from the rest, man. God, I felt like Scott saying that. Alright. Oh, so that one's starting to bite in. Yeah, see, I almost set that too like a fucking idiot. Alright, so we might not get perfect V's all the way around, I'm thinking. Nope, don't want to do that. Huh. Alright. Well, my dream of having a perfect V all the way around ain't gonna happen. What's up, Mr. Boost? I am here with Bulldogs. He is learning the ways of oval creating. We are sitting in a lovely position of 87 props, and we're already on decorations. It's a very, very teeny track. No pit road or anything, more just a casual playlist type track. Yes, we are in a party. That is correct. Can you not? You can't hear Bulldogs?
Hello.
You should be able to hear him. That was the whole point of me going in a party with him. Huh. Oh, well, that sucks. I guess they can't hear you. This whole time he's been asking questions and all that, so. Wait, can you hear him now? You said hello.
Hello, Boosty. Oh, he must be able to.
Oh, he could hear you. All right. All right, so we got one more piece to set here. Oh, can I get the
And that's
perfect?
just by using that same template you made, yeah?
Yep, same template.
Yep.
Saves a lot of time. I mean, you could imagine setting all those pieces one by one would have been a fucking nightmare. Yeah, you could join the party, Boost. Here, let me get you an invite. Hold on. Correct. I don't see Boost online. Can you get him a party invite? Right. Oh, he's on Skinny Mulligan account, that's why. Damn it, Boost. How many damn accounts do you have? Yeah, so all this excess that you see up here on the... you won't see any of that in the track.
Yeah.
So the only thing you're going to see down here are these lovely V's. So Adder's going to pop in and be like, oh, too many stripes cause lag. But, I mean, in my experience, none of my tracks lag. I have no frame rate drop tracks. So I personally have never seen it, but he might be right. But even if that is the case, all you'd have to do is go in here and switch it to the plain piece, like so.
Yeah.
But we're going to leave it where it is until that is proven to me. 91 props, and this is where I sit. Let's go ahead and give her a test.
Hey, Boosty. Good, bro.
So it's a quarter-mile little track. It's all the same banking, so that's why it's at so minimal of props. Yep, it's right up against that train bridge. Pick that location on purpose. So again, we're at a good save point. Save it. So at this point, Bulldogs, this track it's done, really. I mean, I could sit here all day and add, little fucking things to it, signs and
Yeah, that's
whatever.
right. Yeah.
But it's pretty much done at this point. I'll show you how to do the checkpoints, because that is whoever that
Yeah,
is
wasn't
on
there?
my
Wasn't there
YouTube.
something?
Fuck
Wasn't
you.
there something too with the what was it? They got to be a certain length, otherwise you got to stuff around with the checkpoints or something. Or
Yep. So I'm going to show you how to work around that. So basically, to set the starting grid, if I turn it on 30 people, it won't fit within the track, yada, yada, yada. So
yep.
if we switch it to small grid, and then switch it to a bigger grid like this, it'll start you out on motorcycles, but there's a way to test it, and then you switch it to where it'll be hot rings, and I'll show you that. But you set your first checkpoint, small grid, like that, to where they're all on the track. We're going to set turn 1 checkpoint. We're going to go into delete options, delete all checkpoints. So I'm showing you two checkpoint glitches within one here. You get a twofer. So now, when I set this grid, it's also going to give me the big start finish line checkpoint, which is what you want. So, boom. So now see how it's a big ring instead of that little one?
Ah, yeah. Yep.
Alright. So now, we'll go ahead and start setting checkpoints. Set turn 1. The middle of turn 1 and 2. Turn 2. Entrance of turn 3. We'll go to the entry or the exit of turn 4. Alright, so see how the lap length is 0.23. It's going to need to be 0.62 to be publishable. So what you want to do is you go in between, you grab it, come over here, and you need to come at least 0.62 away. So it's probably going to be all the way at the end here, of course. Yep. So we'll set it, boom, the end. So we're at 0.63, which is beautiful. So now that's your primary checkpoint. So that means that the primary route is 0.63, which means it's publishable.
Yep.
So then you switch to secondary, make sure it's the same checkpoint, checkpoint 5, and you set it right here in the track where there should be a checkpoint. Boom. So now we just have to test it. Alright, so checkpoints look good. You didn't. Yeah. So the lobby camera, there's really nothing cool around here to do, unless we could get in this tunnel. That would be kind of cool. It's just on the outskirt. Well, we might be able to move the trigger a little bit to... Come on, you fucker. Alright, so we could get a good view of inside this tunnel with the lobby camera. Boom. That's about the coolest picture we're going to get with this particular location. And now, all we really have to do is first we'll save it. And now we will test it. So you test it secondary first, because that's the easy one. You just literally have to go around the track.
Yep.
Boom. Alright. Now the more difficult one is the primary. So for this one, we have to actually hit that checkpoint that's way outside of the track. Give me 1 second. Sorry if that was super loud.
No.
No. That is Sprite, my friend. Nah. Ginger ale is usually my go-to. I'm a Canada Dry man. I drink probably at least 3 of those a day. Yeah, it's actually my nighttime drink as well. I keep one on my nightstand for when I wake up at night.
We can buy that here too. Canada Dry.
I don't like the other kinds like Schweppes and all those other. I can't do it. I don't know why. Alright, so the trick with this Bulldogs is, this is why it's key to have low walls, because it's hard to get over these walls sometimes. But if you hold your e-brake, hold the gas, and then wheelie when you let go of your e-brake, boom, you get over. And I'm sure you'll see once it catches up. But this is part of the fun of creating sometimes. The adventure that it takes to get these checkpoints sometimes is incredibly difficult. So when I first started building, like, you know, I didn't think ahead that far, and I would just kind of put the checkpoints wherever, and, you know, blah blah blah. But there's a reason I extended the air runways all the way to this side and put the checkpoint on that side. So now to get back in, you know, sometimes you have to be creative. And this time we happen to have a mountain that is easily going to get us back in, but you don't always build them next to a mountain. And sometimes you have to put a little ramp there or something to get back in. So that was about as easy as it gets when it comes to testing. So now we did our lap. You don't have to do both laps, you only have to do one. Once you complete one lap, you could exit out.
Yep.
And now this track is completely publishable. So if I wanted to, I could go in right now, publish it, and we could be racing it in literally in 2 minutes. But what we need to do, we need to name it. So I will give you the honors of naming it.
Wow.
It's got to be within 25 characters, and we've already used 8. So just keep that in mind.
What could we name it?
Bulldog Speedway.
Yeah, that's a simple one. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah. Yeah, you can do that too.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, Sydney Archway.
I don't know if it'll give us the whole thing. Oops. Oh, look at that. Alright. So you got the Sydney Archway description. This is a, I believe, 0.25 mile, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was 2.5.
So, I mean, description, I like to provide as much information as possible. So 0.25 mile. And then I have a bunch of like automated stuff that I put on all my tracks, like check out my YouTube.
Yep.
So check out my YouTube at Jeremy Powers. Search Powers Jeremy or Torque on RSC for more awesome creations. Message.
It's not too hard to tell that you're on quite a bit, especially when your spell check is coming up with each and every one of it right away.
Yeah. Torque. And then friend request me at Powers Jeremy 13. Alright, so now we need a photo for that. I like switching to nighttime. They always look better at night.
Yeah.
Since it's called Sydney Archway, we'll definitely include that in the photo. Whoops, not props. So, I mean, you could do something like this. You could go back here. And it lets you preview it as you take photos. I mean, me personally, I don't want motorcycles in the picture because it's a NASCAR track, so I'd probably do something like this. That way you clearly see a nice beautiful wall, an archway, Sydney Archway. So that'll be the picture. Search tags, I type in the same shit every time. Torque, Powers, NASCAR. This way, if people do use the search bar on Social Club, which I don't know how many people do, I'm sure some do, but if they type in any of those things, this track will pop right up.
Okay.
Default laps, I mean, this track, I'm going to set it to like 25.
Yeah.
Okay. Available vehicles, well, we'll get into that, not yet. Time of day, we'll set back to current. Weather current. Now traffic, you always want off.
Yep.
Wanted levels off. Background music off. Lobby radio, don't matter. No force view. No. Disable catch up. I mean, you can if you want. I leave mine open, give people the option.
Yeah.
Ambient pedestrians, always off. There's no blimp on this job. Custom vehicles open, which I will probably lock to hot rings, but I'll show you that after. And a award stunt RP bonus, I always turn on just because it gives you some RP if you accidentally like flip your car or whatever. So
yeah.
it doesn't really affect anything if it's on no, so I just turn it on. Alright, so now that all that's done, save point. So here's the second part of the checkpoint glitch. So because we had to do the small grid, once it's all saved like that and it's publishable, you go back in the race details and you switch it to large grid. When you do that, you look and make sure nothing funky happened with the grid, because sometimes you do that and then it'll span out the grid and you'll have to do it all over. But this time it stayed true. So you do that, you go to available vehicles, and you unlock all these vehicles. I open mine all the way up. On sports is the only one. This is going to be a hot ring track, so if someone has it on sports class, it's only going to be available for the hot ring.
Mm-hmm.
So you uncheck all the cars. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Alright, and when you're done, it should say 1 out of 61. Like so. Once you do that, you go back down to the bottom of race details, and you go to... What's up, Adder? Bulldogs is learning the ways, man. You go to custom vehicles, you switch to restricted, and then this way, when they pick sports, it'll be locked to hot ring. You won't have no douchebags picking friggin' GTO or whatever.
Yep.
So now we got to retest it. So we'll do the secondary first. Who is Swigsable?
Swigsable.
I know it's an alt YouTube account, and I want to know who it is. Stripes have never been proven to cause lag, and until that is proven to me personally, I will not buy that. So I don't know whose alt that is, but yeah. It's probably Magnus. Alright, so now we got to test it again on primary. Alright, again, we got to get over this wall. Alright, now all we got to do is get back in the track. Alright, so the track is now publishable. We will exit. Okay, and important, before you exit, you're going to want to go into race details, switch the default vehicle to the hot ring, just because you don't want people thinking it's a motorcycle race or something.
Right, yeah.
I should have went the other way. I went the long way. Alright, and that is that, man. So now, this track is 100% ready for publish. Now, there are a lot of things that we could do to this track to make it, to amp it up a little bit. Like, we're at 91 props right now, so we have 109 more props. We could literally build a whole second oval and connect them with a road, and like there's so much potential here as far as decorations. You have all your dynamic props. So I mean, for instance, let me show you the dynamic. I could have came in here, this ammunition sign or something like this, and put it. Let me show you a little trick. So, see how it's not letting me do it? Like, I want to put it right there, and it's not letting me do it. So if I switch to this, then switch back and forth real fast and press X, boom. See how it locked it in there? And what that does, so now as you're driving up this straightaway, you see that ammunition sign instead of seeing the excess over here, this little runway
fair enough.
bit.
Yep.
So those are little things you can do to, you know, to make it pretty it up a little bit. I'm not going to do all that right now. Just I'm already at 2 hours, but and plus I'd have to republish it at this point now. So anytime you add something after it's published, like I just added that one stupid little sign, I'd have to do that whole process over again of testing it and all that.
Yep, fair enough. Yep.
But there's a lot you could do here. I mean, there's all sorts of different lights you could use. If you go to stunt signs, actually, let me switch to nighttime first. Yeah, I mean, there is so much that could be done here. There's 109 props left, which is more than it took to build the whole track. So I mean, the options are endless. But if you go into stunt signs, like there's some cool stuff in here as far as lights. Like you could take this sign, you know, you hover over it and you could sink this down. And boom, now your entry into turn, you'd have to adjust it a little bit and back it up off the wall so you don't brick on it. But you know, like little things like this, you could add lights.
Oh, you got your lights here.
There's that one. There's this one. If you go into machinery, there's a really bright light in here. You know, you could put this anywhere. You put it like this, sink it down.
With that sign that you put up there, with the light shining down, you could angle that sort of on its back and sink it down into the track a little bit. And those things are not breakable, so you can have them on the inside of the track and it lines a lot of light on that straight away.
Yep. So those are some of the lighting things you could do. If you wanted to do the start-finish line a little more, they gave us these beautiful stunt buildings, race buildings, I should say. This track paddock, I mean, this you see this on every track built now, but basically, just go like this, sink it down, boom. Now you have a little thing at your start-finish line. You know, something like that. The options are literally endless.
Endless. Yeah.
You got your little garages you could use for pits. Dynamics, you have little cones and stuff in there.
Oh.
Hey, what's up, Coning? These little guys here, I like putting these on the pit road. And there's a little trick with these, so instead of spacing these out like this, because they don't let you place them next to each other, like that's as close as you could get, like that. But there's a trick. If you line them up like this, and go left, right, and press X at the same time, you could set it next to each other.
Okay.
Takes some practice, as you could see. Yep. But yeah, it see, yeah, there we go. And you could just keep going right along a line, boom. So you could do that. There's a lot you could do within here, man. A lot. It really is.
For sure.
But I'm gonna hop out of here. It'll automatically delete these props, and let's give the track a run, man.
No worries, bro. Thanks for that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man.